Last weekend, it was St. Paul's Carnival, the scaled-back version. Or so we thought, really, as a matter of fact. Well, organizers took a break from putting on a big parade like Glastonbury, Fallow, that kind of thing. But as well as the organized events like the Elders' Lunch at Seco Media, there was a huge impromptu street party on St. Paul, in St. Paul's on Saturday night. That saw thousands of people descending on the neighborhood. Carnival goers spilled over onto the streets, and at least one road having to be closed off in the end. It was so busy. Some people have been telling us it's more like getting back to what Carnival should be all about.
The first few hours, I didn't really find it that well because it wasn't really saying nothing to me. But as the hours went on, me and my friends, we had a good time.
I walked from Malcolm X all the way down Ashley Road, down onto Bridgestock Road, onto Hepburn Road, where that road was packed. People was outside their house cooking food. That they had a little drum and bass, little thing set up there.
I went Campbell Street, all over St. Paul's. I saw about 1,000 people, maybe. It was crowded. You can hardly move, but you still could have a good time.
At the end of it, I actually felt kind of proud because I was thinking to myself, like, every excuse we get given every year for why we can't have Carnival this, why we can't have Carnival that, the people just finally said, you know what? If you guys ain't going to put it on, we're going to do it ourselves. And people came out, like, it just felt like a more community thing. It felt less commercialized. It felt like it wasn't just a money-making thing. It was just people coming together as a community. And I was really proud because this is something that the people put on for themselves. We had a good time. The music ran till about 10 o'clock. So it just shows that all the excuses they make, we can't get funding for this, we can't get funding for that. The next morning, the community came out together to clean up early, 7, 8 in the morning. Our ancestors brought this carnival to this country, brought this carnival to this city. So we was there, we looked after the community, we cleaned up after the community. And it just shows all the excuses. I don't know what the St. Paul's Carnival Planning Committee, I don't know what it is they do. I don't know what kind of money they're looking for, but it showed that we don't really need them.
Carnival was nice, so I'm just excited for the next one.
Ricardo Shari is director of St. Paul's Carnival. So what does he make of what those guys said?
I think I should echo that sentiment that a carnival is essentially a grassroots event. And that pop-up carnival in the evening, I guess, really is a testament to the spirit of the community and what they're trying to do, and almost echoes if, St. Paul's Carnival Committee was to disappear, that the community would still roll out to make sure that the carnival happens. And I think what that says to both us as the city and as the committee, that we need to be working with the community and truly understanding what that grassroots carnival looks like. And essentially the money is really around safety. So I saw some of the TikTok videos and they looked really good. And I saw some of the young people like climbing up on the scaffolding, and part of me is like, that's great. But like, if someone falls off, then like who pays for, the injury and the public liability insurance? So it's about trying to get that balance between making sure that the community can still have that grassroots event, but we as a city take ownership of making sure that people are safe.
That's the Carnival director, Ricardo Shari, talking to the BBC Joe Sims earlier today. So the question we're asking shortly, was it a scaled-down event as planned? The community have described this carnival as one of the best in over a decade. Why? So, was it really a scaled-down event or not? I'm joined now by 3 guests from the community of St. Paul's. And Mr. Clive Smith, Amirah Cole, and Judith Davis all have had experiences with St. Paul's Carnival from the start and have been part of the committee as well. Well, they're going to unpack what happened last Saturday and what the community wants from this carnival in the 21st century especially, and what advice they'll give to the committee in going forward. So I'm going to start with you, Clive. This question: the carnival was officially described as a scaled-down event, but judging from the turnout, and we've been hearing the number of sound systems that were there, it felt like something small. But how did you feel it went down on the ground, Clive?
I didn't want you to call me first. Why? There's a bit of a joy and there's a bit of a pain. You know me again, isn't it? I came out very early and started filming. And what I saw kind of blew my mind. And I thought, here we go. This is what the plan was, which a lot of us all talk about it. It's no longer the St. Paul's African Caribbean Carnival. And a matter of fact, it was like it's not even the St. Paul's Carnival, CIC. It was people coming into the community and using it for their own purposes, because it's in an area which you can come and people feel they can do what they want and then leave St. Paul's with the bad name. And when I was walking along the green, I saw, I think it was 3 sound systems on that green with big PAs, and it didn't represent the African Caribbean or the African whatever.
Why? What did you see?
Because it was all, what's the right word? Is it white or Caucasian PA systems?
Not the cultural aspects of
not
African,
culture. It did
African,
not
okay.
represent anything to do with culture. But then as I went on, and I saw some other streets, and it kind of took me, because it took me back to when I was young now, when we, in the late 80s, were renegades, when the carnival was doing what they actually was doing this time, was doing then, and not recognizing and acknowledging the sound systems who made the carnival, and the sound systems who played on streets that was never part of the carnival. The sound systems was on these streets where there was no traders, nobody on that street selling food, drinks, or whatever. But the minute the sound systems go on these streets and become renegades and step in and play outside their own houses and do what they're doing, and many of them, like myself and my brother, we didn't even do it for money. We just went out there for our community and played music because of the racism and the wickedness that was going on for many years before that. That people had sound systems, they were then knocked and banned from playing in the little shubeens and places that they could play because they couldn't play uptown. And then we just decided, this is no more of this. We're going to play on the streets. And we did what we did.
I'm going to come back to
I'll
that
tell you
point.
more.
I'm going to come back to that point shortly. But Amirah Cole, you here. Thanks for coming. There were more focused events organized by the St. Paul's Carnival Committee themselves, a specific venue. How well do you think those were received?
Can I just say, before I will answer that question, but I just really, I keep stressing this point, and I've been stressing it for years, and I don't think people really understand. St. Paul's African Caribbean Carnival has not put on an event since 2017. The people who have been putting on the carnival is called Carnival CIC. 2 totally different entities, 2 totally different aims.
I never knew that.
Okay, and it's really important we understand that, because when you see what you've been receiving as a community since 2017, you will understand why it does not have the focus and the depth or the authenticity of St. Paul's African Caribbean
So you say
Carnival.
there's 2 companies that
I am
exist?
saying they are totally different entities, yes.
They still
and
exist.
What Carnival
Both of them still exist.
Yes, and what Carnival CIC did was ride off of the back of St. Paul's African Caribbean Carnival on their 50th year and tried to make it look like they were the same organisation. That's why they held their event on the same day. They tried to mimic the same things, the going into the schools, the procession, everything. But obviously they are not them. And
So
that
what
is
I'm hearing now is that there are 2 carnival committees then, or 2
There
carnival...
are not 2 carnival
companies.
committees. There are 2 organisations. St. Paul's African Caribbean Carnival still exists. That was the one which so-called lost, the Arts Council and Bristol City Council lost trust in. And what they did was they funded Carnival CIC. Okay?
Okay.
So in terms of what Carnival put on, I don't know what Carnival put on. I don't know what Carnival do all year round. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's disgusting that we did not have an event. I think what happened out there was wonderful in terms of us as a local community claiming what is ours. But I think there's also the disappointment that people from all over the place think that they can come and claim it too. And I think that it was very dangerous to not have the road closures. Most local people would have done their thing right. They would have contacted Bristol City Council. They would have got a TENS, which meant they had to close off their roads. They had to have security and they had to have toilets, right? Other people didn't. And the result of that is people going to toilet in people's gardens and stuff like that.
So let me bring Judith Davis here, and you renowned community member. Some people are calling this the best carnival ever for over a decade. Why do you think this year struck such a chord within the community? Because a lot of people are still smiling. We heard it from the clips before.
Yeah, people are still smiling because there was an element of richness. There was an element of connection. There was joy. You know, there was lots of good things about what happened on Saturday. And that's what some people are holding on to when you want something so badly. I think for Saturday, I'm going to be, most probably if I'm honest, offended if people keep saying the word carnival. It had nothing to do with carnival. It was a community mashup, destroy, St. Paul's, and a little bit of, a lot of, what do they call it, cultural misappropriation. Yeah. Enough, we're in 2025 and we're still accepting this stuff as a norm. We could not do what happened in St. Paul's, in Hartcliffe, in Clifton. We just couldn't do it. There was, like my colleague has said here, Amirah, people have had licenses and they've done things right. We had so many people who abused the law right in front of everybody's faces on Saturday and puts people's lives at risk, and I'm here because, I'm in the process of actually writing a positive email and a complaint. But our ancestors, this is not what they wanted. This is not what us as a community deserve.
Two more questions. I'll stay with you, Judith, to start with.